Hi, Marizol. Thank you so much for being here and saying yes to being a guest on the show. How are you feeling today?
I am so excited and happy because, hello, Paige, you're asking me to do this. I love talking about sound healing and anything holistic. So thank you
Yay.
for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much. Well, before we start our conversation, please tell the listeners a little bit about yourself. And the go-to question I ask every guest is, what was one dream you had for yourself growing up as a kid?
My name is Marizol, and that has been something that I didn't know the power behind my name until I became an adult. And I always felt out of place, never really fit in, always the outcast growing up. And I did not find my tribe again until I was an adult. So I entered into the holistic scene doing yoga practice, meditation. I teach all of those things. I also am a Pilates instructor, barre instructor. And along those physical aspects, I also teach belly dancing, sound healing, which we will be talking about today. And Reiki has literally changed my life and helped me fall into what I do, what my purpose is. And that's been a frustration growing up. I never realized until I had my first Reiki session in California, up in LA, I want to say around 2020. Yeah, it was right around the pandemic. And that was about the same time I fell into sound healing. And I never really knew growing up what I was going to be. I just know I kept being pushed in front of people needing either to speak or do something. And I'm like, am I an entertainer? Am I supposed to be in speech? What am I supposed to do? Because I'm not a singer. So, long story short, I had found my way and my purpose. And I guess that's really what my goal has been as a child, is to find my purpose, to find my path, to find my tribe. And here I am today. And now everyone's asking me, how do you do it? What are you doing? What is it all about? And I'm glad that people are curious about it now, because I felt always alone.
Oh my gosh, I relate so much to that in terms of, well, I was an only child and there's just a lot of isolation and growing up very quickly. I have also very older parents. So just feeling like no one can relate to me. And I'm doing all these things. Like, you are so multi-talented, you have many passions, you have many crafts. For me, it was like same, like dancing and acting, performing. So like I really resonate with that of like finding like purpose is huge. I don't know if I've said this before on a podcast, but do you know the movie Babe, the pig?
Of course.
Okay, well, that came out in like 97 or something. So I was like 7. And I remember watching that movie, and Babe actually said like, or there, since it's a farm animal movie, it's like that emphasis of like everyone has a purpose, which is really fucking sad. About farm animals, but it's not like their purpose is to be killed. Okay, wow, this is going in a really different direction. The point I'm trying to make is, even just watching that movie and the word purpose made me reflect, wait, why am I here on this earth? And then finding all of these people that support me, people who don't, crafts that I love, things that I'm good at, things that I want to stay away from. So I just want to share that I resonate with you on, we're finally fucking here and we're continuing to grow and expand. And people are being more and more curious on, how are you doing these things? You seem so fucking happy and elated, and you've gained all this wisdom, right? So I think that's kind of why I wanted to chat about healing, because I think that's such a big, it can be controversial of like, does healing mean you're broken? Does healing mean you're, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much to unpack there. But okay, so you said the dream you had for yourself as a kid was around finding your purpose, and you feel like
Yes.
you're doing that right now.
Yes. I was told by a psychic medium who did my um, working through trauma. And she goes, for some reason, you seem, the energy that I'm feeling, very pissed off. And I
Mm,
go, really? Why? Let's see what she picks up. And one of the things that really hit home that made me just cry from the moment I left LA back to Orange County was, she said, you feel like you were born too soon. You feel like you were born in a generation that isn't going to understand you.
oh my God.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, eyes just watered.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah. And it made so much sense. And it made me just realize, okay, this is the reason why.
Mm,
Now I understand. It's much like when people get into their profession for a reason because it happened to them. It's their experience.
yes.
And they want to learn more and understand and share and help people. It's the same thing with you and I. We're doing the same thing. Everyone's here to have an experience, whether it's negative or positive, but we're all here to experience. But how do we heal from that?
Yeah.
And that's why we're here. We're talking about it. Let's talk.
Yes, I love that. So, my goal for this season is to educate the listeners more on how we define healing. What does healing actually look like into practice? What does it feel like? And so, every episode, the purpose is to interview experts so they can share their wisdom and talk about their craft, their modalities. And I think it's really powerful to learn different ways to heal beyond just talk therapy. And I have my background in therapy and counseling. I have my master's. So as much respect as I have with therapy, there are also other ways. And as a holistic life coach now, I believe there's just several components that make up of our life. And so that make up at least optimal health and well-being, right? So let's just get focused and talk about sound healing. So tell me more about what is sound healing, and also how do you define healing in general?
That's a loaded ending question there.
Sorry, whatever you want. You answer how you feel called.
All good, all good. Well, obviously, we're all energy. Everything is energy. And with sound healing, it sends off that frequency. Frequency is the waves that flow per second. How many does it take to get through things to actually vibrate to a higher level, to recalibrate everything inside from within? There's different instruments that actually can activate different frequencies within the body, within the soul, going straight to trauma that's been trapped forever, not just in this life, but in previous lives. You have gongs, crystal bowls, certain chimes. I mean, there's all different types of sound healing considered as therapy. I mean, violins, drums, all of those things, the flute, it all makes you feel light and happy, you know? Those types of instruments all create a vibration that flows through the body. And so with sound healing, and you have sound healers who are experienced and have certain equipment that is created at a level of hertz, then you are able to create sort of a symphony of frequency waves flowing through the body that sometimes feels like you're literally lifting out of your body. I mean, you were there. You could talk about your experience, but my first experience was because I'm already vibrating at that level. Naturally, as a psychic and medium, I am also seeing things and feeling things at a different level. But when I was activating my heart chakra with this particular sound bowl, girl, I had a pain in my shoulder. I want to say I was ignoring it for a year. And just one night, not even 20 minutes of her just doing the sound bowl around my shoulder in 2020 released that energy. And I didn't realize it was stuck in my heart and had been from previous bad relationships and relationships in general, things that just, hurt my heart. And I pick up on other people's energy as well because I do healing, moving energy through Reiki using my body as a channel. So imagine if I'm a pipeline and I'm supposed to be sending energy and receiving energy, how am I supposed to what's the word when you put the chemical down the pipes to clean it out?
Right. Yeah,
How do I clean it out? How do I
exactly.
detox all this crap that's
Yeah.
inside of me? And it was getting clogged. So I needed some of that to kind of push it through. And that's when I found sound healing. I should say, sound healing found me.
Yeah.
Every single modality that I do and I practice and teach has found me, not me the other way. I was not curious. I didn't even know what sound healing was about. I didn't know what Reiki was about. I didn't know that I was wanting to be a yoga instructor, and why I was so fascinated, how I felt about after doing body movement. All of that's energy work. So, what was that last question? I forgot.
That's beautiful. First, before I move on, I just want to say I love the way that you describe the experience. And I'm just thinking of sound in general. Like, yes, there's actual sound baths with specific bowls and all of these hertz, but it just reminded me of also just the power of music, period, and
Exactly.
how that's healing. Everyone does it on a daily basis. So anyway, I thought that was really cool, just like to remember the importance of sound. And the next question is, how do you define healing in general?
Before I jump into that, I have to just say something that popped into my head when you were talking about listening to music.
Hmm.
I remember growing up, because I've always felt like I've been an old soul. So all my high school peers were like listening to heavy metal, and their parents would be like, "Don't listen to that. That's the sound of the devil." And I'm like, "Don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about." But for me, now I get it. That vibration is intense. It sends the intention through the body. I don't know anybody who's left a heavy metal concert thinking I'm going to go pick flowers and run through the meadow. They might want to smash something. And no offense to people that listen to that music, because we all have emotions. We all have those moods, right? We want to release that energy through the music as well, or through dance or whatever. And that's great and everything, but try and switch it up. If you can't switch it up and say you want to be a fan of the symphony, then maybe go to a sound bath, or, you know, buy one for yourself and play it. That's intense as it is, just your own little private sound bath. How do I define healing? Hmm. Oh, dating yourself.
You. Yes.
I do, because how are you to know what love is if you don't know what love feels like? And if you're looking for love and wanting that feeling from someone else or something else, it's never going to satisfy you because you have this idea. But when you feel it inside, you in your heart and your soul, that is what love is. How can you repeat that energy? Well, you have to date yourself. What makes you happy? Go through the steps, go through the shadow work, go through the traumas. Why did this happen? Why is it happening? How do I get through it? And that's again where therapy can come into play, where you have someone who actually listens and can give you, your advice and bounce off of each other. But the thing about that is how do we change the narrative? How do we make a new future? Does it have to keep repeating itself? How do I let go of this energy that makes me feel blah? And we don't realize that some of the energy is not even ours. It could be passed on from your mother while she was pregnant. It could be passed on from your father, generation after generation, on both sides. You could have passed on karma that is not resolved. How do you let that go? And unfortunately, a therapist can't just clip, 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 clip and release the energy. You have to go through that yourself and give yourself the acceptance of, okay, yes, this happened, but now my intention is to let it go so that I can work through it. And if I ever get triggered again, I won't have those same responses because that's not my narrative and I don't accept that energy anymore. But it takes a lot to get to that place when you're being triggered and when you're not functioning in a balanced chakra method, you will also always feel like, oh, fear, anxiety, depression. And that's where sound healing can come in, because there's certain frequencies that can channel and move that fear, that blockage of depression, whatever the lower vibration may be, that is the energy itself. So, how do you know what that feels like? Well, stop taking that self medication to forget about it, because it's not going to go away. You can't close the doors on everybody in your life, because that's not healthy either. Even if we turn a blind eye to it, it's still going to come around in your life in other forms. And that's just our way of saying, you know what, you can't run away from this. You're going to have to face up and find your inner cheerleader, your inner guidance, your faith in yourself. If you don't believe in a higher being, you're always connected to your higher self. So stop shutting it down. And that's all part of shadow work, is to basically accept and learn, move on, forgive, and create a new narrative. And that to me is healing. And that to me is dating myself. Who am I? What am I feeling today? What do I want to do? Because I've always been back to back to back to back with relationships in my personal life. I never knew what I wanted. I never knew what made me happy, because I'm always a giver and I always want to give to the other person so that they're happy, because that makes me happy. But it didn't make me happy. And I lost who I was. And I think it's not just people who are sensitive. I think it's everybody when you get into a relationship. So it's hard to heal yourself when you are already in a relationship that is maybe their own journey. And it's hard to walk down the journey together if you're vibrating at a different level. Not one that's better or worse, it's an experience.
That's a lot to unpack, and all so beautiful. You took me through a journey. There was a lot that I could have interrupted you, but I didn't. I'm just like in awe. Like I'm just watching the words, just like it's a lot to take in, because the way you're describing healing just sounds like a journey in itself. And
Yes.
it is, right? Especially dating yourself. You're going to be with you no matter what. You're going to
And
always
we
look at yourself in
we
the mirror.
change all the time, right?
Right. So you're going to, I mean, you wake up in the morning and you look at yourself every day. So the relationship that you have with your narrative, with the way that you show up or don't show up. I think you were talking about energy, which is really important. And then you were mentioning this like lower vibration. So perhaps in this healing phase or journey or process, we may be at times in this lower frequency. So can you share more about what is frequency? How does frequency affect the body's energy?
Yes. Frequency, like I had mentioned, was the waves per second as it flows. So you can have very slow frequency, which is the lower vibration, and it slows the up and down movement. When you go higher into that hertz, it starts to double it up, whereas a violin is over 400 in their frequency on the hertz level. I find that the metal part of the gongs and the Tibetan bowls can channel on the lower side, because it is made out of metal, whereas the crystal bowls are these beautiful crystallized, they're smashed and they're like put into this frequency. And there's different levels as well as the crystal bowls and the size of the bowls. What it does to the body is it definitely starts, you can feel the vibrations resonating through the body. And that's basically what it's called, is there's resonance of energy and vibration that's flowing through the body, the frequency. So the number of frequency that goes through the body is elevating your cells inside your body. And if you ever do research on how frequency can shape shift actual energy, actual matter. That is a wonderful video to have actual proof that it does move. It shape shifts the energy, it shape shifts it into different forms. And I look at the term a broken heart very much like that, because when we feel like we have our heart broken, it's in a million pieces, it's shattered. But when you do that energy vibration that happens to work with the frequency for the heart chakra, it almost acts like it's all vibrating back together again. And then when you're done with the sound bath, you literally are still vibrating and just in that relaxed state of mind. So it will go up, it will go down, it will go to a present state, it will go to a relaxed state, and it goes through all these different waves of energy as we go through each instrument. Because sometimes it takes a little bit for people to relax, to catch on to the wave. It reminds me of Nemo. You remember that scene in Nemo with the turtles and they're trying to jump into the wave and ride the wave? It's like that. So wherever you're at that moment, wherever it's being triggered, that frequency will realign itself and you will feel different for days on. I've had people tell me, could you not do the gong this time? Because I felt that for 5 days later. I was like,
Oh my
what?
God. Wow.
And I've had people tell me before, how come I cried the last time, but I didn't cry this time? Again, there could be different instruments that are being used that are channeling certain triggers within the body that are deep, deep, deep seated within the body. And so that crying release, it's not necessarily sad, but it's again moving energy. People feel gurgling in their stomach. We're majority water. Think about throwing a stone in the middle of a calm lake or a pond, and then it just ripples out. That's what's happening within the body.
That's a great metaphor. That's really helpful. I'm a very visual learner, so I will look up that how matter like shapes and forms and adapts. Like that's really cool to me. And I did your sound bath at the beach. It was so relaxing. You did have there was gongs, there was different bowls. So I'm glad you also got into the details too of the different instruments and the effects. So since I did that with you on the beach out in the public, along with the ocean, is it better to do sound healing indoors or outdoors? Or I guess there's no such thing as better, right? Like what's the impact of both?
Exactly. It's definitely different, but still just amazing. If you think a sound room when you're recording and it bounces off the walls, it sounds wonderful and it echoes. So you can get that when you're doing a sound bath indoors. You can also receive that though outdoors, depending on where you're at. It can bounce off of the trees. It can bounce off of the waves of the ocean. That energy connection with Mother Earth is pretty powerful too. So there's benefits for both. I'd say try them all. I have, and I love them all. I actually was able to go to a sound bath that had one instrument. Girl, it was called the Earth Harp. This is a harp that went from one room to the next room, and you could stand underneath and have the strings around you. And the healer, the guy that was playing it, was at the very end, and he was vibrating with these gloves, and you felt it like this. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I did not realize standing inside of it, the impact of it is very, very powerful. It almost knocked me off my feet in a good way, because I
Sounds
felt
like
very
it.
light, very light. It was so cool. So that one was indoors, but he does it outdoors too. But same thing, if you step inside the heart area with the strings on each side, you will still feel like you're indoors. I don't know. I mean, even outdoors, you tell me, some people said, even though we're outdoors, it felt like the sound was going through one ear and out the other and back through. So what is it bouncing off of?
Well, and it was also, it was on the beach. It was a space, I don't know, there couldn't have been more than what, 20 people? I don't know.
Mhm.
It felt pretty small, and like we're all kind of like huddled in our blankets laying down. I just felt a sense of like, even though I was on the outside, I still felt like a sense of like community or something, even though I'm outside on the beach. But literally the sound, almost the whole time, it felt like it was right on my face, like it was that loud and but like amazing, very pleasant, not like, oh, this is too much. It was just what I needed. And when I'm laying there, at least in that experience I've had other sound baths before, but with this one, it felt I just felt I like set an intention for myself of just allow what's to like, let me just surrender, basically. Like, I don't want to force anything. I'm just going to show up and see what reveals itself. I can't really remember. It was a while ago, but I do recall having some kind of journey in my mind and like kind of having a conversation with my higher power on like how things are going, and then like asking my higher power a question, and then right when I ask my question, boom, here's a sound, like
Oh,
here's a, you know what I mean, like I felt the movement in my body, if that makes sense.
oh yeah.
So it was cool. And then I guess I'm not really good at after effects, like how you said like that one person was like, oh, for 5 days like I don't know if I can attribute how I feel after those things happen, but at least in the moment it feels really good for me.
Yeah. How'd you feel after you walked away from the beach and the whole scene?
Oh, so just like relaxed and calm. And that was the same day that I booked my one-way ticket to London. So I was like, this is exactly what I need. I think it
Wow.
was like one of those powerful, like luckiest day in the world or something days. I don't know. One of those things in astrology. I think it was like perfect timing. I don't know. I forgot, but
Divine
it was great.
timing, baby. I'm telling you.
It was great. So if someone is interested in joining a sound bath or getting involved with sound healing in any capacity, what do people need to know, or do they need to prep? I mean, how should someone approach this if they've never done it before?
I'm glad you asked because it is becoming more popular in California, but not across the country yet. Um, and everyone asks the same thing. What should I bring? What should I wear? I mean, are we getting naked? I'm like, what? Okay, just because it's a bath doesn't mean we're taking a bath. Um, I would say drink an hour before 8 ounces of water. That way you are hydrated, you have that clarity flowing through the body. The second thing is bring comfortable clothes, wear comfortable clothes, just be comfortable where you are literally laying down for 45 minutes to an hour. Some people like to sit, some people like to move around. And again, whatever makes you feel comfortable, because that vibration is moving things. So you might need to physically move. And that's why I say wear comfortable clothes. Blankets, pillows. It looks like we're having a big slumber party, basically, right? Everybody's walking around with their yoga mats and their blankets and their favorite pillow. Shoot, if you want to show up in your pajamas, no one's judging you, because it's really what it's like is you feel someone massaging you, but yet no one's touching you. And you feel like someone's cradling you, but again, no one's touching you. So it's a wonderful experience when you feel comfortable. So wear loose clothing, hydrate an hour before, bring blankets. Let's see, your favorite pillow. And if you happen to be outdoors, think about the weather, don't get too hot, bring an umbrella, whatever you need. If it's going to be super bright outside, if you don't happen to be doing it at sunset, time doesn't really matter unless you're trying to align it with your astrology and work through that if you're really getting super spiritual. But I would say those are really the only things that I can think of to prepare for a sound bath. And just be open-minded with your intention. But usually at every sound bath, you'll have someone in the beginning walking you through that. So it's up to you at that moment if you want to send the intention of being open, like you say, because some people are scared and they put up the blocks, and that's okay too. You're going to feel it regardless.
Yeah, I was wondering if you had any like go to intentions or prayers or something, like while I get comfy, I'm laying down, I'm ready. Like if you have any, I guess, on a mindset preparation, anything to think about, or any like I said, prayers or something, affirmations or anything.
When I practice, I have a list of people I call upon, but that may not be for the other person. So again, it has nothing to do with religion, everything to do with what your beliefs are. So if a religion aside, who you believe in aside, just basically set the intention for yourself. And I always have people place their dominant hand over their heart so that
Mm-hmm.
you know you come from a loving place. The opposite one, I always put over the belly. This is where we hold a lot of our emotions, our trapped emotions. This is also our sacral chakra, our root chakra. And when we go on this journey together, we want to make sure that we're in a place of safety. Because if I'm going to sit here and close my eyes and trust you, I want to make sure that my body's safe and that I know I'm in a safe place. So that's the next thing that I think about. So when I close my eyes, I channel my highest and greatest good. I channel my Reiki masters. I channel my guardian angels. I channel definitely Archangel Michael. He always shows up. And all of the different angels, depending on who I'm needing to call upon. When I do those big group sessions like you experienced, I call upon all of them. So I go through the list and then I sit there and I tell my people, enjoy the experience with an open heart and an open mind, and know that you are in a safe, sacred space. Go on your journey without any restrictions. Go on your journey, allowing to remove any blockages, any traumas, energy that no longer serves you. So now I just have to close my eyes because then I can start channeling through my mind's eye. And then I always finish this little intention. And I say it's little because you have to get over this idea of it being a bigger experience, because sometimes people set this big intention and it's a want at the end. So just be here in this moment of accepting, like you said, surrender the idea, the expectation, and enjoy the moment. Just enjoy the experience and know that you will come back feeling refreshed, feeling calm, feeling light, feeling love and peace and joy in your heart, in your mind, in your body, in your soul. And then I ask everyone to relax, get settled in. And sometimes I do breath work with my sound baths. The one that you went to, I did not facilitate that. I believe Chris was handling that one because it was his sound bath. I was helping him facilitate it on the side with the other sound healers because of the larger group, which I absolutely love. But when I do my specific sound baths in my groups, I always do a little breath work too, because I now need you to make a bigger intention, which is your clarity in here. People can't breathe these days. There's a lot of anxiety. We start hyperventilating, shortness of breath. We've been attacked by COVID. It's actually affected our lungs. And that fear has been reprogrammed. So now I have to teach you how to breathe. That's the bigger intention. So sometimes I do Kundalini breath, and that can be pretty fierce. Then we can relax, and now we can start vibrating with the bowls and enjoy the journey. So
Thank you for
long answer.
giving us a mini session. I mean, I was closing my eyes when you were talking. I was feeling it. I'm with you. I'll get my water bottle and just like put my hand over it as if it's a bowl. That was amazing. Thank you. And so that leads beautifully into my next question, because you have multiple crafts, you have a lot of experience in different modalities, Reiki, breath work, what are other I don't want to say treatments, tools, things to do to experience other forms of healing that people should look into as well?
You know what the latest rage is? Cold therapy.
Oh God.
I know.
So judgmental. I should not.
Check it out. But this is my easier, I want to say ghetto version, but it's not really, because
Okay.
you're going to need a jacuzzi. You're
Oh,
going to need a pool. That's the thing. So most of the pools here in California are not heated because they think, it's California, the sun will heat it. Well, right now our weather is kind of funny for
yes.
certain reasons for a different podcast. Um, but I use the pool as my cryotherapy, and I soak in the jacuzzi. There's a lot of chemicals in the water, I know, and it does seep into our skin, I know. But with even taking a bath, take a bath, do your essential oils, if that's another modality that help release energy, because much like sound, there's certain smells that can make you feel good. I personally don't use essential oils. I don't even wear perfume. I'm very sensitive, hypersensitive to smells. And some oils can make me nauseous. And the combination of water and oils can help release energy. Then just splash yourself with some cold water. And that's where I go into the pool. I always say I jump into the pool, but I really don't. I just take my time, like, okay. And then I acclimate, do a couple of laps, and I'm feeling great. And that shock therapy to the system is a wonderful way to not only release energy, but it actually helps as a weight loss too. If you're going through trapped trauma, we use food as another way of helping us cope. And that food gets blocked inside of us with the heat and massage and movement, that will help release the energy. With the cooling of the system, it shocks it into it and it starts burning that trapped energy, that fat, and you will see your body change. So if you can try that shock therapy, that's one of the things I don't teach, but I love talking about it. People call me all the time. What are you doing? It's 9:00. I'm in the jacuzzi. Okay. If it's a full moon, I'm in the jacuzzi. I am underneath the moon. I'm doing laps. I'm meditating. I do all of the things that I teach. But yeah, I'll try it.
I love that. Well, what I'll do is,
you're next to the beach. You can go to the beach.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
That's cold.
yeah, and it's been in California, May gray, June gloom, which are new expressions to me. I'm new here, so I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be sunny all the time. Not. But yes, there's the ocean. That's always a good shock. And also just I love steamy showers. So if I could end it on a quick cold, maybe that'll help.
Oh, and there's tapping.
Oh yes, we love tapping. Yes.
I don't teach that.
I love that though.
And sometimes I just do it to myself.
Oh yeah. Yes, I love that. Well, I would love the listeners to walk away with this episode. I mean, you gave so many great tips and food for thought on if you are interested in sound healing, the things to look for, the like actual frequency, the science behind it, types of bowls. Tell the listeners a little bit if they were to finish this episode,
Mhm.
where is something like, what is something that they can think about in terms of sound healing? Like, I like to give my listeners like kind of homework of like, okay, so the next step is, if this is sound healing's interested in you, you do what? So what do you think could be something that they could walk away with and start working on?
Like I said before, all of the holistic modalities found me. And
Mm,
if you're watching this, that's step one.
yeah.
Then step two would be go online, find your local holistic healer that does sound healing, Reiki, or even on social media. They constantly travel. I know I travel all the time. I go to San Diego, LA, all of the beaches, and find what resonates with you. Go online. Sometimes people do live sound baths online. And it is a little different. You still feel the vibration, and it is about the intention. I've made videos on my YouTube page to help people sleep. You know, ask your friends. They might even know. I post constantly about what I do, and I'll have my random friends say to me, and I say random because I do meet a lot of people, and they'll be like, "You remember me? We had a magical moment, and it was da 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 da." And I'm like, "Yes, friend, yes." And I don't, but I try and remember everyone, and they'll say to me, "You did that sound bath online, and it made me just feel at peace." And I really needed to hear that. I didn't realize that, but I did. And I asked my friend to listen to it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we hear her all the time." Like, what? I had no idea. More and more people are talking about it. So ask your friends if they've ever heard about it, because you never know. I have trainer friends that say, you might be onto something. More and more people are talking about sound healing. And these were the same trainers at the gym that would be like, "Oh, this is BS, but it doesn't work, whatever. What are you doing? You can only get fit if you lift the weights."
All those naysayers are so comical, because just give it a minute and you will be on the other side too, my friend. Just wait.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
No, I would used to be frustrated, but now because I do everything, I'm like, "It's okay, my love.
Yes, I know.
You will be back."
It's okay, sweetheart. It's okay. That's what I say. Well, what are some, maybe live events that are coming up that people can check you out? Or if people that don't live in California, is there anything virtual that you offer? Just tell me more about some of the things that you're offering right now.
Well, thank you, Paige. I'm so glad to tell you, because I do a bunch of different things. There's so many ways to connect with me. You can connect with me on TikTok, where you can find all of my events, little sneak peeks. You can find me there on Shop for the Soul, Marizol with a Z. You can find me on YouTube, where you will find different videos. You can dance with me, do belly dancing with me. You can do tarot card readings with me. You can follow along on monthly subscriptions. You can also find me on Instagram. I am doing all of my events through social media on Shop for the Soul, Marisol. There's one coming up that I'm super excited about, because I also work at a recovery center. And I have found that in the recovery center, there's a lot of people that are not able to identify with who they are due to outside sources, whatever, whatever. And they are needing what we are talking about, how to heal. And so I'm excited to belly dance, believe it or not, belly dance for San Diego Gay Pride. And I'm hoping to continue to draw those lovely energies into sound healing as part of therapy, and knowing that it's all about love. It doesn't matter who you are, who you have a relationship with, who you want to be with. It's about, what's your relationship with yourself. And so that's going to be happening in July. If you look up San Diego Pride, We are also doing, and when I say we, me and a few other sound healers will be doing sound baths once a month, like the one you went to, Paige, over there in Newport, coming up in June. I want to say middle of June. So please find me there with Chris. And I also do once a week sound baths in a smaller setting inside a studio at the House of Embodiment every Tuesday at 5 p.m. And I combine Reiki as well as sound healing at the same time. Talk about an experience. Oh my gosh. And I also do different events all around, available for weddings. I dance with a troupe in Los Angeles called Sababa Dance Company. We're doing that together down in San Diego. Let's see, what else? Just check me out online. I have my whole schedule. I mean, I'm teaching at Taco Bell Corp, doing, believe it or not, yoga, barre, get their body moving. I teach at Kawasaki Corp, doing yoga classes with them. I'm all over the place, girl. Just find me anywhere online.
I love it. You're so multi-talented and faceted. And I think that's just beautiful though. Like all of these things that you love, we don't have to be restricted to just one modality, one thing. It's not linear, right? And I've shared on other episodes and seasons about purpose and creating your dream life. It could look so different, and every single day you can have a new vision, and that's okay to change your mind, right? So I love that you have so many different ways that you express yourself, that you connect with others, that you help towards their healing process. So that's really beautiful. Everything that Marizol said will be in the show notes, so you can go find her. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing with me your healing journey, more about sound healing. I think this is really going to help. It's just going to help people know this is something I want to check out. I'm very confident people are going to be more curious after hearing this. So thank you again so much for your time and your words of wisdom.
Well, thank you, Paige, again, for even providing this platform and allowing this journey to happen. And together, we're trying to elevate this energy and this vibration. And you're serving a wonderful, wonderful purpose. And I appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you to your audience, too.
Yes. Thank you, Marizol, for taking the time to share your experience. Thank you to my listeners out there. Remember, every single day provides a lesson. Go out there, dream big, and I'll catch you next week. Take care.